Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for tuning in to this Red Kingdom Media production, bringing you raw, authentic Chiefs coverage. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on your team. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
This is the Red Kingdom Media live postgame show.
It is a Monday night, and your Kansas City Chiefs have defeated the New Orleans Saints 26-13. I'm your host for tonight's festivities. Clinton, joined with me are my two pals, Dale and Lonnie. Boys, this was a contest. I know the final score started getting a little lopsided, and the Chiefs ended up doubling up the Saints towards the end. But the Saints had multiple times to come back in this game. The Chiefs offense had plenty of times to also put the game away, specifically in the red zone, and they had troubles doing that. But in between the 20s, the Chiefs had fantastic success with their zone passes. It's amazing what we saw with Juju and his recovery and what he was supposed to be for New England and all the stuff we heard about him and the success that he had in this game. Kareem Hunt looking 2018 levels. Travis Kelce is back on and getting the remaining targets and yards that you would expect from him. Overall, this game was hard fought. The Saints are that type of opponent. They can outright boat race you or keep it close. I didn't think we assumed a blowout from either team in either way, but I think this is as close as we were going to get, and it started kind of happening towards the fourth quarter there once the Chiefs kind of punched it in and got that extra lead. So what are your guys' thoughts on just the overall impressions from Chiefs Saints?
Yeah, so I like what I see from both sides of the ball, especially what I seen on defense. On offense, ball control, a lot of ball control on offense, reminiscent of those old school Patriots teams. I think the Chiefs are just kind of finding their footing, finding a new identity. It was a big family reunion for the Chiefs, like they said, with a lot of familiar faces that have returned to Chiefs Kingdom, even the guys on the opposing side of the ball. One, Mr. Sir Binks, Mr. Colin Saunders, which you got real acquainted with again, with him getting that interception. So I think it was good for both sides of the ball. Like what I seen from the offense, trying to keep it out the opposing team's hand. Wasn't able to do it all the way today, but just to do some tips and kind of overthrows, some things that you really can't control. But I really love what I seen from the defense, being consistent, being who they have been all year, continuing to be them, continuing to put it on themselves to get us out of holes, get us out of jams, and they continue to do that. Even this game, starting the game off with the interception. So you have to take your hat off to that defense. Again, it's Steve Spagnuolo. Like I said, he's dialing it up. He knows how to get to your quarterback. He knows how to get his DBs in position to make plays on that back end. And you've seen it today. They were winning in every aspect of a New Orleans Saints team who has a ton of field stretchers with Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. And they were able to win in those situations, in those downs where they were zero blitzes. So hats off to the defense. They played a magnificent game tonight, and ball control was a magnificent thing on offense. I think it was a maturation of a perfect marriage of two great games.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the performance tonight. Shout out to both sides of the ball. I think they both did what they needed to do to, really bring it all in and be able to head to 5-0, and going to this bye week as well too. Defense, we can't say it enough that how much we appreciate what they are able to dial up on that side of the ball. The defensive line is really able to create pressure. Definitely love the stunts that they're able to, put together as well too, and also getting those linebackers involved as well. A couple of times we saw the zone get beat up a little bit, and then we saw that touchdown down the field to Shaheed. But the response after that, they're able to always buckle down and not allow much after that as well. So you'll get one against them then and there, but at the end of the day, I think the secondary did what they had to do. Wasn't able to really do as much. You saw a couple floaters going up in the air. We was able to bring one down for interception. So just looking great on that side of the ball, and looking like a number one defense once again coming into this year, and going to be able to lead the way. And offensively, just was it not many turnovers. That interception by Mahomes wasn't really on him. I mean, but at the same time, Juju, that should have been a catch. Something similar than what was to what we saw last year. But that didn't bring us down at least. And throughout the game, he was getting into the shakedowns, getting into the running backs, being able to get upfield, get those first downs. They was getting into red zone. So that's something that we have struggled with in previous years. We have to dial it up when we get down there. We got to get into the end zone. I like what they did with Xavier Worthy. Kareem Hunt was able to get his touchdown as well too, so it's very exciting. But a great job, 5-0, moving on to the bye week, and we'll see how the rest of the season holds for the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's right. The offense definitely contributed more this game. Both aspects. Mahomes was able to raise his passing yards to something that we're more akin to seeing from him, even though he didn't have a touchdown. Travis Kelce as option quarterback hands it off to Xavier Worthy. You can't be upset in this offense who gets the scores. And I think Kareem Hunt, even last week, was like, man, that P. Ryan touchdown should have been mine. So it is what it is. Really, really glad of the progress that offense has made. They kind of, the turnover didn't help, and it was an off, a random, chaotic type of interception. The other ones that we've seen from Mahomes are just straight up bonehead, throw it to another player or throw it somewhere it shouldn't be. Whereas this one was more of the type of interception we would see kind of last year. Bump off of Tony's hands into somebody else's, etc. So I'm just glad that Mahomes was willing to play that kind of passive role and do what needed to be done. The zone was open, and he took it over and over, and the wide receivers were able to take the ball far down the field. The run after the catch was the name of the game, and it usually is for an Andy Reid offense. But Kareem Hunt was also getting his touches, a lot of touches, especially for his age. We've never seen Pacheco arguably get this many carries in a game. So that's kind of compelling that Andy Reid maybe still has a little soft spot for Kareem. And then in terms of the defense, for me, I'm satisfied with their performance. I think at times they were able to be bullied. And if you're a defense, I think that's a no bueno, no matter what. So I think the Chiefs need to work on that. 60 full minutes of football. I'm glad that they did not score any points in the first quarter, but they allowed the New Orleans Saints to score in the second quarter. So, you give and you take. You ask for one thing, then they start giving up stuff towards the end. So I can't be too upset. Obviously, the scoreboard indicates everything, but when you're just watching the game and the momentum is occurring, when you start seeing those plays like that and just kind of Derek Carr of all quarterbacks just chuck it deep over your head and you can't make a play on it in Arrowhead Stadium of all places against Derek Carr, then, we still got to do some work. We got to look in the mirror and maybe make a couple more changes and refine those loose ends. But I'm not going to sound greedy or unhappy about this game. The Chiefs were able to come out on top. They arguably could have tripled the New Orleans score if they could have half as many successful red zone trips if they had a defensive pass interference go their way instead of the one that actually did. So the Chiefs had several chances to just step on their neck and just was not willing or able to do so. So when the postseason comes around, I assume we're not having a conversation like this about why are you trying to win so close. Just beat your opponent and send them home and leave it at that. Don't care about their feelings. So I think both sides they know that they played well, but they also know that they have some changes to make and some improvements to make. But you have an entire bye week now, as the Chiefs do not have a week 6 game, where you can take all the success that you've had against the various teams over these last 5 weeks and kind of digest the good, the bad, the ugly. And, I have faith in Reed and Spags as coaches that they can make those adjustments, especially with a long week. And the players, I don't know who all is injured or needs some rest right now. It stinks that it's this early in the season because it's not going to make an impact for some of those key players that we're missing on offense. But if it allows, a player like Travis Kelce to rest his knee or to make sure his head's right, then you got to take advantage of that time. So that's kind of it for me in terms of my overall thoughts. So let's go ahead and shift our focus now. Dale, you started it as an extra point because you thought the defense was the star, and I asked you before we started, and you also think the defense was the star of this game. So the defense shall get their top billing as we have decided. So round table, who stood out to you on defense? What did you like? What did you dislike?
Who stood out to me the most on defense? Turk Wharton. Once again, just being able to show up and show out, getting a sack for the Kansas City Chiefs, getting y'all big Max tomorrow. Just how he has been playing so far and been stepping up season by season. What he has been able to do against opposing offensive linemen. He has been able to dominate and win at the line of scrimmage. And then he's also able to collapse that pocket as well, too, coming from the inside. And then you having having a great pass rush from guys like George Karlaftis and Mike Daney as well, too, to where you can be able to go ahead and swallow him at that moment. So just shout out to him for being able to step up. Of course, Chris Jones, once again, is being the force that he is, getting double teamed. He's just out there wrecking everything. Be still being able to beat his assignments when he gets those one-on-one opportunities, and just giving Derek Carr a hell of a day. So, but those are my standouts right there. Great job. That's pretty much it. Secondary, they did enough, did what they had to do. Shout out to Brian Cook for getting that interception. That was able to, be able to flip momentum for us, to be able to get that turnover on the first possession because they came out wanted to take the ball after, winning the coin toss. So we was able to go ahead and step in and be like, okay, we can go ahead and get ahead and take advantage, and we were able to do that. And then we were able to go into the lead at halftime as well, getting the ball back. So just great job on that side of the ball. Keep on being that leading force for the team, but the offense, they're more efficient, and we'll get to them later on. But yeah, but I think that's why it's a great balance so far because in ways that they are making it work with one another. So, but shout out to the defense for stepping up.
Yeah, and my standout on the defensive side has to go to those linebackers and Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquil. You see a lot of times where Nick Bolton is shooting the gap and we're getting stops early in the run game. I think that was big today. Stopping Kamara in his tracks early on was big. Him coming downhill and being able to shoot his gun. And then also just the back end, we didn't hear a lot of Jalen Watson and we didn't hear a lot from Trent McDuffie today. Anytime we don't hear your name as a corner, that's a great thing. So I think those two guys on the outside did a magnificent job today, with two up-and-coming wide receivers that have been blazing the NFL, setting it absolutely on fire, getting over top of a million defenses. And even Rashid Shaheed was able to get over top of us today, but we were able to make an adjustment. So I love what I've seen from all the secondary as a whole, just this entire season. The maturation, them kind of being who we thought the wide receiver room could be last year. I think is really big, and we don't speak about that. This is really who we thought our wide receiver room would be a ton of guys that are able to just kind of mask a big loss in that room, whether it be like Tyreek Hill or whoever it was, MBS, or just was able, just would have the ability to mask it with the players that we have in house. And we weren't able to do that at the wide receiver position. As you can see, we had to go out and try and get talent and acquire talent. For the secondary, we can't say that. Steve Spagnuolo has literally drafted all of these guys. These are the Fab Five, as they like to say, and they're all playing in his system, and you see the result of it. Like, they're really, really good. Like, if you get drafted to a team, sometimes you just have to trust the process. So many times in the NFL, I think we get caught up now in what have you done for me lately, and you're not having success today, so let me get rid of you right now. And we don't let guys kind of get their feet wet within the NFL. I think it needs to more turn into like a developmental thing. I understand that it's a time to make money. It's go time when you get to the NFL. It's professional. But I think we need to give some kids more time to develop and kind of get their feet wet, put them in better situations. I know every organization is not in a winning state, so they can't really, kids have to play immediately. But I just think this is a result of Steve Spagnuolo drafting the guys that he wants at his position. All five of those DBs, and then them being able to come in and not have to play immediately. Some of them having to play immediately, and some of them not. And I think we're just seeing the fallout from that, which is just magnificent. So shout out to the secondary, Brian Cook, Jalen Watson, Najee Johnson, Trent McDuffie, all of those guys. I feel like they're playing absolutely out of their body right now. I think they're all at an all-pro level. But yes, I love what I've seen from the secondary, and I love what I've seen from the linebackers. I think they made us go today.
Yeah. So I think for me, I think I pretty much second everything that you guys have said. I think my stars are the linebackers who are in there making plays on the ball, and the secondary who is doing much of the same. You shouted out Brian Cook. He had the interception, but he also gave up the touchdown over the top because he let them run past him. So you give and you go there. Chiefs had 1 sack for the whole game. They had 9 QB hits against Derek Carr and a beat-up offensive line. We got to up those numbers, man. Felix, not a single stat except the QB hit. George, just 1 tackle and 2 hits. Our defensive line surrounding Chris Jones has got to step up because we watch Chris Jones get held by 2 guys every single play. And as much as we can clamor for the referees to call a flag on every single play, they're not going to do it. So Chris Jones is not going to beat his double teams, and nor are we asking him to do so. On occasion, sure. But on a snap-by-snap basis, it's asking for too much. So I'm looking for the defensive ends on this team to make a step up, because this was the game to do it. The New Orleans Saints had a weakened offensive line. They were ripe for pressure, and the fact that you only walk away with 1 sack and you keep seeing a ball, Derek Carr floats a ball in the air, whether it caught or not, like, you got to get there faster. I know that there's some quarterbacks that pride themselves on getting the ball out quickly, but you got to beat that, man. You're an Arrowhead. We're ruckus. We're loud. You got to get there. Straight to the point. I also agree Tershawn is kind of that second best defensive lineman, and he's usually playing right next to Chris Jones. But I really would like to see our edge rushers take a step forward. We all keep praying for Charles Omenihu to come back. Well, it's going to be way, way later. So we still have arguably 10, 12, 13, honestly, maybe the whole regular season left, where we've got to just deal with who we have. Brett Veach can make some phone calls this week since he's not worried about a game coming up. And, we argued that wide receiver is something they should pick up. And the fact that they only have 5 on their active roster today, I'm not saying they shouldn't also possibly take a dip there. But I think that defensive end could be a position that Brett Veach should take a look at, make some phone calls for, because I think having that extra edge rusher on this team on an already good defense to get that closing play to Frank Clark, to be the closer, to get the sack when it's right there, to just do your job that's in front of you, I think would serve this Chiefs defense well. And they're already playing well, but now that we're talking about this, we can nitpick and find the players who maybe aren't quite up to snuff. So that's my rant for the evening about our defense. Let's go ahead and jump up. You got something else, Dale?
Yeah, I wanted to rebut it a little bit, just a little bit, due to the fact that, like, I definitely understand we want to see the stats of sacks really going up, and I can understand that, but I think we also have to, accept the quarterback pressures and also the quarterback hits as well too, because at least it shows that you are getting there, you are affecting the play in some ways, and sometimes those type of moments can be more impactful than an actual sack because it can force a turnover. And I mean, we saw it with that interception as well too. He's just throwing up the ball. We were able to get back there. I mean, but I do understand. But I think this does resemble somewhat of what we had last season as well, with how we started out the season, just really feeling bodies in there until Charles, Hill gets back. And then, of course, when he did get there, you did see that defensive line did accelerate a little bit more as well, too. But I think overall that they're doing enough at least. But, yeah, we can give some more sacks. We can have it, but at least I can say that at this moment we're averaging a sack a game. We're at least getting to the quarterback. We have to make the most of it, but they're still holding down, and that run defense is doing well. But overall, I think they're doing their job. So, but I get it. I can respect it. But I just had to put that out there.
Derek Carr drops back 28 times. You only hit him 9 times. That's 33%. You would have said, with 3 of your starting offensive linemen, how do you not get hit 50% of the time? I got to go back and see what Joe Burrow's AFC Championship game was with his diminished offensive line, because I'd argue that percentage is the same or better.
But at times you get out the ball quick as well too, because I have seen where it's like, okay, I'm gonna just get it over to Alvin Kamara, and then also he get it to the tight end as well too. So when you know that you have a depleted offensive line, we already know in that next game people think that, hey, you're gonna attack and get after them very quickly, but at the same time they're knowing that, hey, this is our weakness. Let's go ahead and get this out quickly. And guess what? We were still able to hurt Derek Carr, and their backup quarterback had to come in. So it made an impact in a way. I mean, it didn't show up on the stat, but guess what? That last possession didn't look well because their starting quarterback wasn't out there, and that quarterback hit, that pressure, put him out for a minute, and he got an oblique injury. So we'll see what's an update for him later on in the week.
Oh, that's true. That could be big for the Saints' future schedule if Derek Carr can't play. I'm not crapping on him and saying he's good or bad or whatever, but it's a hard business in the NFL if your starting quarterback goes down. So it's never something you want to see. Any other thoughts about the defense before we start rattling some offensive takes and start bringing up what these lovely people in the chat have said? And if you are listening to us live and you want to leave a comment and have us respond, go ahead and do so, and we will get to that. So I'll open it up. Who was your offensive standouts, and what did you like or dislike?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna steal the light from Dale and take it from him, because I know who he's gonna say his offensive standout was, but I'm gonna give it to the offensive line. We haven't, like you were saying before the game, before we even started, Clint, we haven't really seen anybody on this offense get 27 touches. Not even Pacheco, and do something like that. So to have that wall opening up in the middle, with shades of like Tony Gerhardt, and the Will Shields, it was scary. It was a scary sight to see that we're kind of getting back to old school football. I think they kept Mahomes reined in, kept him away from himself, kept him out of the way of himself, by having him turn around and hand the ball off instead of him having to drop back and throw it 50 times a game. So I think that helped a lot with just running the ball and him being able to trust that interior. That interior was magnificent, was wonderful today. And then able to hit a couple shots in the deep department, create a pass interference with Xavier Worthy. I feel like everything just opened up, but it all started with the run game, and I feel like that is the only way to really protect Pat, is to protect him from himself and force him to hand the ball off. I think we kind of talked about it on Chiefin a little bit. Like, I think that they did that today. And I think if that's the recipe for success going forward, I love it, because that's just going to open up teams more, because now they have to come down, try and protect against the run. Now you're taking shots. It's just a little bit of old school play. People don't like to do that. And I know Andy Reid doesn't like to do that. He wants to RPO you to death and put 5 wide receivers out and throw the ball 60 times. But sometimes that's not a recipe for winning when you don't have the talent on the outside to be able to do that. You have to hand the ball off. So I like what I've seen today from the interior 3 offensive line. Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Joe Tooney, they were clearing away. And as you can see, Dale's pick has had a day.
Oh yeah, Juju Smith-Schuster, shout out. You you know, I'm not saying that people were giving me hell when I was somewhat excited with him returning. I know a lot of people questioned it, but he really came in today and said that what y'all was getting from him, this was what I was doing the year before, and we were just as efficient than we were in that 2019 and 2020 season with Juju Smith-Schuster in the offense. He is immediate. He was the original intermediate guy. He gets open. He has that same style of play as Travis Kelce. You saw on that deep route that he had where he just turned around. He has that connection with Patrick Mahomes, and you've seen that throughout the game as well. Doing great on the underneath route. You see that we had about 225 yards after catch as well too. They were just lighting it up. But he came in and said like, "Hey, I will be able to fulfill this role." Now it's going to be interesting to see what we do at this trade deadline, and seeing if we are going to go after a wide receiver, because seeing what we have. Pretty much with the loss of Rashee Rice, if you having Juju Smith-Schuster doing that on a regular basis now, you have filled that void at this moment. So how do you feel about the other guys behind him being able to, really get what they can out of it? Travis Kelce, waking up like he did in this game as well too. How much can you get from that? So I still think they are interested in making that move, but at the same time, I wouldn't be mad about a defensive end coming in if they wanted to go for that and probably add some depth in that position. But overall, just shout out to Juju Smith-Schuster and Kareem Hunt. Hey, getting that money. I sent you a message. Next time, maybe you can do that celebration I told you to do, bro. It's all good. But great performance on the offense, man. Mahomes getting tired of these interceptions, but it's not all on you, Juju. You got to bring those in.
I'm going through the comments that we have now that basically have to do with the fact that Mahomes sucks and he's not good. And congratulations on your interception prop. If you had it with Colin Saunders getting it, you deserve to win the lottery, because why a defensive lineman in the end zone would come away with Patrick Mahomes' only interception for this game. But that's how the universe can be sometimes. So Kareem Hunt, Juju Smith-Schuster, they're the top 2 performers, obviously. But I think for me, and I'm lumping Travis Kelce into his position group, I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from the Chiefs tight ends. Whether they get the touches, whether they get the receptions, I just like the way they play. I like that they're physical. I like that they block. It doesn't have to be Gronkowski and Kelce just to have a tight end block. Any tight end can block, guys. That's the fun about it. Tight ends block and they catch. Isn't it amazing? I'm really happy with their production. And if the Chiefs opt not to get another wide receiver, I think that indicates to us, number one, they like who they have. And like last year, they're not going to keep messing with the roster trying to find their missing piece. But I think that they're really going to lean in on their running game. And some of that is the 2 or 3 tight end sets. I mean, Jody Fortson makes an appearance in the box score. And he was brought in days ago. So, like, Andy Reid loves his tight ends, and tight ends love Andy Reid because he knows how to get them open. Noah Gray, he got that contract, and he knew why. Because if it wasn't Travis Kelce's touches, it's going to him. Because everyone just assumes, oh, that's not Travis Kelce. I don't have to pay attention. Psych, we got another fast white tight end who can also catch and be shifty and make you miss. So, I'm putting it on the tight ends because I feel like they could be a sneaky good group for us. I think we kind of knew that, but to see like the production, because tight ends you never expect to, fill the stat sheet. And earlier, someone's upset that Travis doesn't get a touchdown. The only person who got a touchdown was Xavier Worthy getting handed the ball from Travis Kelce. Okay, the Chiefs have struggles when they get in the red zone. They've had struggles in 2013 when Andy Reid took over, and they still have issues in the red zone now. It's going to be an issue that they just cannot seem to fix, and it's going to continue to wheel over the next game, the next game, the next game. From what I've seen this season, NFL defenses are winning and passing offenses are dying. Like, passing offenses are not thriving the way they used to. Yes, we just saw Juju Smith-Schuster ball out. So make me sound stupid just comparing to this game. But for the most part, all defenses want to stop you from passing the ball. And what's the best solution when a team doesn't want you to pass? Well, then you run on them. Take the damn yards. Take the points. I feel like this team could lean into their heavy run game, play action passes to their tight end, find Juju Smith in an open zone, and just play like that. And play flexible, loose. We don't have to run this tight ship. Travis Kelce runs whatever routes he wants. Ha ha ha. But that's how they like it. They don't want things to be, tight and precise. Oh, Travis Kelce lateral ball, for crap's sake. We didn't even say that. Like, it was 2nd and 32, and they basically picked up the first down. This year's offense would, if I had said this team has to pick up 30 yards in one play, could they? Sure. Did I believe that they had the capability to just convert for 30 plus yards like that? No, not with what they've shown us. So I think that they're starting to swing the momentum. And you could say what you want about, Mahomes. He had 300 plus yards. Okay. So what we were upset last couple of weeks, 150 yards, not showing up in the stat sheet. He almost threw it 40 times. He had 8.5 yards per attempt. Took 2 sacks. And most of it was pressure that he couldn't escape. So I don't know what more you could want Mahomes to do at this point. He's fixed what we've seen the last couple of weeks. He's not making bonehead throws. He tried to throw it to his wide receiver who was hot. It was behind him, and he bobbled it. So, and to answer your question, Juju Smith-Schuster ended with 130 yards in this game, being the game's leading receiver in most yards. So I agree, Dale. This like resurgence of Juju could be very big for the team, and having the 2 wide receivers that the Chiefs had go down in the early weeks of the season, they needed a reliable, dependable guy, and I'm very pleased to see that Juju and Mahomes have that rapport together again, and that they're working through their issues, and just the giant big chunk plays that we saw. The Chiefs have the firepower to be able to flip the field, and I don't think I would have been able to make that argument before this game, because everything they were doing in the passing game was so difficult. So it really seemed like those zone throws this game were just effortless, and they were finding guys wide open. So if that continues, I would expect this offense to be as dangerous as we led them on to be the beginning of the season, even with missing 3 of their day one starters at this point, because they still have that firepower. Kareem Hunt still has that strength. Juju still has that burst and can find an open zone. So, like, we can rely, and Travis Kelce's still dependable as ever and can make a play and can be your captain of the team. So I think that this team is in a good position. Do they choose to add on to their roster? We'll find out here in the next couple weeks as the deadline rolls around. But any final thoughts about Chiefs versus Saints before we wrap for the night?
Yeah, so I just think, like you were saying, defenses have caught up. I think we're in that time. They have arrived, just like when teams were running a wishbone and you were seeing that people were getting the ball 50 times a game and it was low at the box. And you had big running backs like Marshawn Lynch running 35 power. And you were back in the day when Tom Brady was playing and the game had kind of just shifted. It was play action pass. So you've seen bigger DNs and you've seen not these hybrid type safeties. And then you had to bring in guys that could cover big tight ends. So I feel like the Chiefs have just changed the game. We throw it 50 times a game. We have the most athletic wide receivers. We have a super athletic tight end. So now the game has changed. Your DN has to be basically a safety now, playing linebacker. Has to be able to cover. Everybody has to be able to cover. Even your defensive tackle, nose tackle, has to have some speed on them now, just because that's how the Chiefs play. And I think that the league has started to do that. And not only has the league started to do that, but defenses have started to notice that and evolutionize as well. And this is just a microcosm of it. So I think it's fine what we're seeing. We have to just acknowledge it and understand that the league has changed. And when we're going back to the old school, and we're having to just make our decision early. So I just think we're one of the many offenses that will continue to look like this throughout the season. We're going to hand the ball off. We're going to be old school. And yes, it was a big family reunion in Kansas City, but being that it was a big family reunion is why I feel that we did not see the drop off. We haven't spoken on that enough. Being the guys that we brought back onto this team are not bringing in Kadarius Toney and Scott Moore. We're not bringing in guys that haven't been there before. These are guys that have been in big pressure moments, even Kareem Hunt, to the likes of Jody Fortson playing the Super Bowls. So these are guys that have been there before and know the system, know it through and through, can get in and play at the drop of a hat. If this game would have been the day after they got signed, they probably could have played. So nothing changes except for the day when you come into the offense. So that's why we haven't seen the drop off either as well. These are guys that we are very, very well acquainted and very well acquainted with the system, and that cannot be understated. You don't come in and get 27 touches for 100-some yards if you don't know what you're doing. Like, he knows what he's doing. And you're getting in a third and manageable. That's just a bad situation for Mahomes. He's going to be efficient. So I just think we turned up the efficiency. That's all I think we did.
Yeah. You know, my final thoughts on it. We didn't get too much love to Kareem Hunt. Shout out to Kareem Hunt. 27 carries, 102 yards. He's showing that he can be that bell cow running back for us, and he's really showing shades of 2018 as well too. Now we haven't seen him hit that burst of getting to the second level and scoring a touchdown off of it, but he is consistent with the 4 to 5 yards of carry. Really grinding out the yards as well too, getting those first downs when needed. So it's beautiful to see that he's able to come back into this offense, and he's saying like, yeah, I'm back and I'm ready to go. And it's good. I'm definitely happy going into the bye week 5-0. Definitely we do great out of the bye as well too. Coming back out and playing against depleted and wounded San Francisco 49ers team. So that might be another one that we can sneak away with. The Kansas City Chiefs are handling what they have to handle in this first portion of the season, and is looking bright for their three-peat still, regardless of the injuries that we're dealing with. When you look at it at the end of the day, pretty much they were able to replace every position that was injured within the off season, and then later on after the injury with Pacheco as well too. We wanted Hollywood Brown to be out there as our deep threat. We drafted Xavier Worthy in the first round. Rashid Rice was supposed to be that guy who came in, was looking at like the number one wide receiver, taking over. Juju Smith-Schuster was signed in August, before we got into our first game, and guess what he did? 130 yards this game. So that's why I think the Chiefs are confident in what they have and said that we can still do the same thing. But we are going to see what decisions that they do make over this time. Brett Veach, I know he's calling to see what kind of talent he can look out there for and see what he can bring in, something cheap. We'll see how it looks for Amari Cooper as well too. Who knows about that? So, but I'm definitely happy about what happened in this game today. 26-13. We won by 13, so it was a double-digit win. Got around my score prediction as well too, with 27 points. So they did what I expected. So I'm satisfied. I'm cool with
it. Same here. My final thoughts are, the Chiefs can only play the team in front of them. They had a lot harder matchups on paper, and then when the game rolls around, there's something about the team just isn't quite as hyped up as it was. We'll see what this 49ers team looks like, whether or not Christian McCaffrey will ever make an appearance. Sorry for all the fantasy football leaders who may never ever see that man take the field. Sorry about that. The Chiefs, they looked well. They did well this game. They played well. They could obviously make improvements. They made some mistakes. And now you have nothing else to do but sit around for a week and let these coaches dig into the film room and kind of figure out what their tendencies are and see if they can break them or know how to break other teams' tendencies on defense. I think at this point, the bye week, it arguably comes at a good time for the Chiefs because you're riding high. You're 5-0. You're the AFC team, the only AFC team who's 5-0. You and the Vikings are neck and neck. Barely any undefeated teams. So talk about that. 11, 12, 20 years ago, all you ever talked about was the team, whether or not they were going to go undefeated. And now you can barely have that conversation at the end of September. So the NFL is different, man. Every team is almost as evenly matched as you can. Maybe the Jags aren't so much. Maybe the Panthers aren't so much. I could start listing the bottom feeders, but everybody else, just like baseball, if it's the right game and you have the right team against you, you can get caught. The Chiefs had opportunities this game to get caught. The Saints made several attempts to try to be aggressive, and at one point it did, and they were within 3 points, 2 points if their kicker had made a point after. If that's a 2-point game right there, we feel a little different about the game because it was 3-point margin. You're like, no, all good. And then try to do a pass interference. It doesn't work. Try to do it again. It does work. But, the team, offense and defense, both, they have answers. It's just up to them to now execute on that, make those adjustments, and start working on a long road ahead because, as I said, the Chiefs have a week 6 bye, which means for 10 straight weeks from week 7 through week 17, your Kansas City Chiefs will be playing an NFL football game, and the crew right here will be covering each and every one of those games. And at the conclusion of each and every one of those games, we will be live with you breaking down the game in our live post-game show as you're hearing it now. So stay tuned for every single game the Chiefs have the remaining of the season as we break them down as they happen. Anything else you guys want to let the people know before we let them try to salvage a little bit left of their Monday night and get ready for a victory Tuesday morning?
Shout out the Royals. Go Royals. And y'all better show up on Wednesday. Be loud, baby. Let's go.
Hey, I mean, we got a crossover. The podcast we never got to do. The Royals were hyped this year, and the Chiefs were so busy having storylines around them that we never had time to talk about them. But yes, shout out the Royals. Shout out to the PA announcer and the media people there for constantly putting the score up there. When we saw it was 3-1, 4-1, we all just started screaming our heads off. So thank you for helping us be informed during those times. I know, like me personally, I was like jumbled back and forth around it. It's like I was at the Chiefs game, so I had to focus on the Chiefs. But I had somebody tell me this today. I'm sorry, I gotta wear blue. It's Blue October, and I was like, I don't blame you, and I respect that. I'm going to the game, so that's my choice. So, but the Royals will be here in Kansas City hosting the Yankees this Wednesday night, and we'll be hyped about that. But this is a Chiefs podcast, darn it, and that is it for us tonight.
Scores.
The colors on our logo are red. They're red. So anyway, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Try to get some rest. Go to work satisfied. And as always, go
Chiefs.
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion. So please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs, Red Kingdom Media.